By the way, Isabel, you see these signs behind me on my door here?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read them? Is it backwards or forwards?
It's forwards. Yeah, I can read it.
My wife gave those to me.
That's cute. You are right.
You are right.
Recording in progress.
Okay, thank you, Hal, for getting us going. And this is Alamo REIA and LoneStar REIA coming at you. And we have Isabelle Guarino, and she is an expert at residential assisted living. In fact, I came and visited y'all in, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah. And we went around to all your assisted living, and we got to meet a lot of the people that live there. We got to meet a lot of your students who were there. And it was I enjoyed meeting the other students because they were the ones that y'all were helping to put it together, because none of this is like, it's not like it just happens. You have to make it happen.
Right.
We're basically holding their hand and showing them how to do it and how to do the construction and all that stuff. So what I'd like to talk about today, first of all, is what is residential assisted living, and then kind of like how does a person get into this? And just how do we make it all work, and why would we even want to make it work?
Yeah.
So maybe tell us what residential assisted living is.
Yeah, we'll start with that one. Residential assisted living is just a group home for seniors. So it's not a commercial facility, a Brookdale Sunrise Atrium, a big box facility. Instead, it's a single family home being used to house 6 to 16 seniors, depending on where you're located, in a residential home. They're getting 24/7 care, medication management, 3 meals a day, everything that they would be getting in a larger facility, but in a home environment, not home-like. And so it's really important to give our seniors options, because not everyone's comfortable living in that, big, huge environment and walking 300 yards to breakfast, down to the kitchen, the food hall. And so it's a good option for seniors who want a more homey environment and they want to stay in their own home. That's not always possible. So this is that next best option.
And when I've been to like assisted living where it's multi-story, and and you don't even know who the caretakers are. There's no hand-on-hand connection between the operators and the people living there. And honestly, is a lot of times it's the children that are making these decisions, right?
Right.
Would you consider that like a competitive advantage over one of these big conglomerates?
Definitely the caregiver to senior ratio is our biggest win over the large facilities. In those facilities, you're typically seeing 20 seniors to 1 caregiver. That's not okay. I can't take care of 20 people. I don't think you can either. They're not magical unicorns. They can't do it either. So in our homes, it's a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 ratio. So the ratios really cannot be beat. And it's not that our caregivers are so much better than theirs. It's seriously about systems and protocol and ratios. So when you're able to only have 4-to-1, you can actually get to know the seniors, know them by name, know their likes and dislikes, and who their loved one was that, passed on, or where they grew up. And you actually get to have that personal touch, versus when it's 20-to-1, there's not a lot of foreplay. It's kind of like, hurry up, we got to get it going and we got to make this stuff happen because I got to get to the next one. And it really, really is comforting and helpful to know for the families and the daughter Judy's, like you're talking about, the adult children who are making that decision to put their loved one in this care. When they know that their mom or dad is going to be loved, given dignity, given respect, and have a much greater resident to caregiver ratio, it's always a big win for us.
So like, we don't have to be fearful that these people who have this much bigger budget than we do, and they have bigger staff, you're saying we can probably compete with them effectively.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would venture to say about 80% of the clients who come into a residential assisted living home are coming from a big box. So the disappointment, the maltreatment, the neglect that's happening really leads them to look for other alternatives. And because we don't have the biggest marketing budget, maybe they didn't find us up front, but once they start looking, it's like, oh my gosh, this is night and day better. And I mean, there's not many other real estate industries where you're getting checks for $6,000 wrapped in love letters. Like,
Right.
you're not getting that as a landlord of single family homes from most of your tenants. You're getting a punch in the wall, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very different ballgame. The families are grateful. They thank you for the home you're providing and, you know, the environment and the care that you're giving their loved one.
You know, over the years, I've been a landlord for a long time, and I've sold a lot of houses over the last 40 years. And occasionally you'll get that feedback where you sold a house to somebody and they come back and they thank you. And it really makes, and I was making money the whole time, but it was nice that I actually was appreciated. And it sounds like that happens in residential assisted living. If you get the check wrapped with a love letter or thank you letter. Since you said the dollar amount as an investor, how does is it something that a person can make money with and have a comfortable lifestyle and also do this at the same time?
Definitely. So we have people on all ends of the spectrum, people who just own the real estate, and we teach people how to do that and lease it out to an operator who's going to run the business within the home. We also show you how to operate the business and own the real estate, and that one cash flows the most. And then the third option is to be a JV lender or private lender to someone who wants to do this. So all three of those have great returns and are great opportunities to get involved in this growing industry.
You know, over the years, I've had 3 properties that the first one was by accident, but I've had 3 properties that we've sold to operators. I didn't even know this business existed. And I sold to the operators. And what I learned in the second and third one, we actually converted it the way they want, because we're the rehabbers. So we kind of built it the way they wanted it, and we sold it at a premium, much higher than what I would have sold in a retail trend. And they were happy. The operator was ecstatic.
Yeah, because if you've done the hard work of getting it ready to go, taken a lot of the time and energy and off their plate and really gave them a product that they could just move forward with easily. So you might have a little business there, Ray.
Yeah. Well, now that if I find that house that's got 6 bedrooms and it's got 36-inch doorways and it's got easy access, it's
you
like,
know what to do.
Then I say, I'm buying it for retail. I'm going to outbid everybody else, because I know that there's the operators out there who are looking for that. And if you think about it, a lot of operators, they want to run the business side of it. They don't want to be in the rehab and the building and construction side of it, because that's also very complicated.
Yep, it's definitely, it's 2 different worlds, right? The one who wants to operate it, this is someone who's kind of comfortable running a business. They're comfortable with staff. They understand what's going to be happening. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, we teach and train you how to do that. You're not working in the business. You're not there on a day-to-day or wiping bums, bathing seniors, feeding people, not at all. We're hiring the licensed staff to do that, but you're operating the business. So you might be doing things like marketing or payroll, having meetings with the administrator or geriatric doctors, things of that nature. If you're on the real estate side, which obviously most of your, listeners and people who come to your meetings, they are familiar with that. So that's easy to them. So it's like, oh, I can take a home and these small little things to learn, just like you did. Okay, widen hallways, doorways, add ramps and guardrails, make it senior safe and accessible. Okay, that's easy. So this is the part where there's the learning curve if you want to do them both and be cash flowing, 10, 20 grand a month on the home.
Yeah. I do remember when we went into one of the homes, you had I want to say he was a chef. I don't know if you all actually use the word chef, but he was real proud of what he was doing. And I guess maybe the rest of the world doesn't know, but chefs don't make a lot of money, but you could, they were filling a niche. They enjoyed what they were doing. They were making a living, I guess, being the chef, but it was like the kitchen was like the center of that assisted living. And it was just, I got a warm, fuzzy feeling. I hate to say that, but I actually enjoyed that. I'm glad that y'all let us walk through there and check them out.
I love that too, and I agree. It's interesting because with all the Food Network type shows these days, people get this idea, oh, I'm going to be a chef. I'm going to make French cuisine and do this and do that. And then they go to culinary school. When they get out, the only job is Applebee's or Chili's. And they're like, this isn't what I wanted. And so when you give them an opportunity to make 3 meals a day for 10 to 16 people, they get to now be creative and try recipes, try flavors, and have fun and take some ownership in that. And it becomes a lot of fun for them. So hiring a chef is not as expensive as you may think. And there's a lot of people who would love the opportunity to actually practice those skills and not just have to be working in the back at, the local restaurant.
So like with y'all's academy, it's a residential assisted living academy. What is it tell us what you do for people that want to get in the business? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah. So just like you came out to Phoenix for our 3-day training, we have two programs, a 3-day training and an online home study course. Both of them are built to teach and train entrepreneurs, real estate investors, and professionals how to start, own, and operate their own residential assisted living home. So no matter how you want to play a role, whether it's just owning the real estate or owning and operating the business or lending on this, education is key because you don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot of mistakes to be made. And these are not small mistakes. They're costly, big mistakes that could take you months to get that license or thousands of dollars to fix that mistake. So learning everything up front is always important, but then being able to, proudly and confidently know exactly what steps you need to take to get your home open within 3 to 6 months of coming to our course. And that's what we like to focus on, is giving you all the information you need to go be successful in this venture.
So you would show people, like, first of all, you got to show them what the demand is. And I remember 7 or 8 years ago, the numbers were just not even believable. And we're even further into
it's worse.
It's worse. Can you share a little bit about the information of what's happening in that industry now?
Yeah, right now, 10,000 people a day turn 65, 4,000 people a day turn 85, and 70% of people are going to need daily care for an average of 3.5 years. Currently, the silent generation is who lives in assisted living. There's about, I think it's 44 million of them. And in about the next 10 to 20 years, the baby boomers are coming. And if you've followed any economic, things that have been happening since the baby boomers have been born, they set the trends. Whatever they need, whatever they want. If you were talking about follow the money, change that. Follow the baby boomers, because they're the trendsetters, and they're going to need assisted, care and living in the next 10 to 20 years. And so this is that big shift. There's 76 million of them. So we're going from 44 to 76, and we're currently 1.3 million beds short. So there is not enough beds. We're about to double the amount of people. And this is a massive crisis. If anyone listening has ever had this happen in their own life with their own family, it's a family crisis when it happens. And I'll share that when I come to both of your groups this week, that what my family went through in this situation. But it's a family crisis. But the reality is, this is a national crisis. This is a world crisis, because it was World War II that sparked off the baby boomers. And the reality is, it's going to keep going. So this is like if somebody handed us a crystal ball in 2008 or even 2020, right? And said, like, look, you can see what's going to happen. Many people would have played differently. This is a crystal ball. It's telling us what's coming. It's showing us. And now is the time to jump in and take advantage before the silver tsunami hits the shore, because you don't want to be scrambling with everybody else who wants to get in. It's like getting into Airbnb now versus 10 years ago. It's like there's a big difference. There's a time to get in and there's a time to get out, and this is the time to get in. Timing's never been better.
Is the residential assisted living that, and when I say that, in my mind, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking of like a small operation, like 10, like you said, 10 to 16 people. If it goes over that, then you need different set of licensing and stuff like that.
Yes, it
Typically,
becomes commercial, and so it's zoned commercially, and now you need a commercial fire suppression, commercial kitchen, commercial parking lot. It totally changes the game.
Right.
And that's not really what we focus on. We also don't focus on super, super tiny, like duplexes, triplexes, anything where you're only going to have like 4 seniors. We focus on licensed RAL homes, or in Texas, it's type B homes, and they have anywhere between 6 and 16. Now, Texas is an amazing state. Go big or go home, right? You guys are statewide allowed to have 16 residents in the home. Now, your counties could vary. I know like Dallas says 8, but right outside of Dallas says 12. So
Right.
it can vary depending on where you are. I know Houston, where we'll be this week, is 16. You are allowed to have 16. And San Antonio, I'm going to have to double check, but I want to say it's 12. But still, those are amazing. So when we're thinking about homes that big, obviously you're not going to find a 16 bed, 16 bath home on the market for the most part. So we are going to have to get something that maybe has some land and build an addition or a renovation to something that's already set up. But if you're thinking 300 to 500 square feet per resident, that's a great rule of thumb, not per bedroom, but per resident. That's a good rule of thumb.
So 1,200 square feet, I'm sorry, 12 people is 3,600 square feet, 30 minimum.
So that's not that big. We could find a house 3,600 square feet all day,
Right.
Upwards, of 5,000 or 6,000 would be very comfortable for those 12 people.
After the smoke clears, if I had, say, a 12 bed facility, what, as an operator and the owner, what could I expect to make net in a operation like that?
Yeah, so the national average for assisted living right now is $4,500 a month, and Texas is right in line with that. I think they're about $4,300 a month.
That's per person?
Per person.
And that
also average. So we highly encourage to go a little bit above average, do something a little nicer with a little more amenities, so maybe you're charging $5,000, right? Times your 12 residents. Let's pull, I don't want to misquote you. So I'm going to pull up a little calculator right here. So we've got $5,000 times our 12 residents. We're bringing in what, $60,000?
Yeah.
And then if we had about $32,000 in expenses, because you're going to have to pay for your administrator, your caregivers, food, cable, electricity, you name it, that's leaving us with $28,000. And then our debt service on a home like that, maybe it's $8,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be able to afford us a pretty nice home to house those people. That's leaving us with $20,000 net as the owner operator. So
And even 8,000 seems kind of high.
right. So that's giving you a lot of flexibility, right? If you can get something less, now you're cash flowing even more, or maybe you put more towards expenses. You pay your caregivers a little more. You feed them lobster and cheesecake every night. I don't care. You choose.
I know, like the very first rehab I ever did, it was the hardest by far. And we've had members, it's the same story over and over. It's just the same movie. The first time you do this is super hard. And the second time it's so much easier. With your students that you have now, do a lot of them do more than one at a time? Do they do 2 or 3 at a time?
Not usually at a time. Almost everybody starts with one, and I agree with you.
No, I'm sorry. Do they? I asked it wrong.
Oh,
do they end up with 2 or 3 or 4?
Yes. So starting with one is definitely good, but then we highly encourage having a 3-pack, 3 homes within like 20 to 40 minutes of each other, because you want to be able to share your resources. If your staff, your caregivers are working 12-hour shifts 3 or 4 days a week, they're not off the other 3 or 4 days a week. They're working at somebody else's home down the road. So if you have multiple homes, they can work 3 or 4 days for you here, 3 or 4 days for you here. You're not paying overtime. They get to stay in the same work culture and environment, and it really helps everybody. So definitely, we highly encourage having a 3-pack, but most of our students, once they do the first one, they can't wait to do the next one. Now they're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So another thing is, I don't want it to be me doing all the work.
Yeah.
I don't mind it being that way in the beginning when I get it up and running, but I like the sharing the resources And then if somebody doesn't show up for work or doesn't do it, if you got 3 of them, you've got somebody to fill in on the other stuff. And by the way, James, if there's any questions out there, or if you have any questions, or Hal, if either one of y'all have any questions, y'all are welcome to pipe in. We do have a meeting tomorrow. I guess I'll see you again tomorrow. We'll be in San Antonio at the Shriner Auditorium, and that will start probably about 7. The meeting, I think, officially starts at 6, and then you'll be talking around 7:30 or so. And then in Houston, we'll be meeting at Transact Title 1001. James, if I screwed up, let me know, but it's South Loop West. No, West Loop South. 1001 Transact Title, and you'll be seeing us Saturday morning there. So, and then you'll have a lot more time to share, and you'll also, are you coming in for like a weekend where like a 1 or 2 day deal where we can?
I don't think we have that set, but I know on Saturday, James asked if I could change my flight and stick around for lunch. And I think Katie was able to arrange that. So they'll have to confirm, but I think we were able to make that work.
And the one thing is I've actually seen this, and I've been involved in the acquisition side of a couple of these, well, 3, 1 by accident, 2 on purpose. But so I kind of have a sense of what's going on, and I don't think I'm going to ask all the same questions everybody else does. Do some people start this and then they hire an operator to run that part of it, but they run the business part of it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you are going to hire a licensed administrator who is, in real estate terms, basically a property manager. And so they're running all of the hiring and firing of caregivers, all the payroll, usually all the marketing. They do the tours with the families. I mean, they handle it all so that you are just focusing on the business and working with them. So of course, in the beginning, it's more effort and time and energy to get your home up and running. But once it is up and running, you should be down to like 5-10 hours a week. Really, that's all you should be working. And our 3 homes, I visit them every other month and have a weekly call with my administrator. And also, I mean, you mentioned earlier, these were passed to me from my dad. So this is even, they were passed from one generation to the next without skipping a beat because they're that hands off. They're that systematized. It's like,
so I want to slow you down there because you said something there. You said that basically you meet with your administrator once a week
on Zoom like this.
Right. And then you just go over like the kind of a meeting as to what's going on or what problems are we having, whatever. And
like every other month.
And you're spending 5 to 10 hours a week now that you've got this streamlined and set up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So have you, tell me a little bit about y'all's operation, because I know that you have the not the assisted living, but the academy. Tell us a little bit of how you have that set up.
Yeah. So with that, I'm the lead educator there at the live event in Phoenix. It's a 3-day training. We start on Thursday with like a welcome cocktail happy hour. We go all day Friday education, all day Saturday. We still do the bus tours, but we're not able to go inside anymore since COVID. We instead switched it up and we do drive-by tours. And we also point out a ton of our students' homes along the way, as well as we show you virtual tours inside our homes and 2 other homes all the way across the country so people can see, because just seeing Arizona is tough because it's like, well, that doesn't look like my market. So we want to show you what this looks like all across the country. So we do virtual tours on Saturday and a ton of more education. And then Sunday, again, we go all day long education. The other people who are teaching and training with me, they're past students. So like you said, well, we got to meet past students. They're there in class coming to share with you their insights of what they've learned. And they're not just doing a presentation and running out. They're there the whole weekend till like 10 p.m. every single night, hanging out, smoking cigars, playing cash flow, doing whatever. It's a lot of fun. So we make it like it's It's definitely like a behind the scenes concert type vibe there. You're getting to know us and be able to ask any questions you want. And then what's really fun is being able to be there with, 100 to 150 other people who are also starting on this journey and have totally different walks of life, and being able to network and see how your synergies could work together. So the networking's off the charts, as well as the content, the education, and then all of our trainers are just thrilled to be able to give back and share with you what they've learned and what they've seen. And it's not always 100% what I say, right? What works for me, it might not work for them. And so that's cool too, is you're getting a 360 view of what this could look like for you.
I remember going there, and because I've always been a rehabber, and maybe other people won't appreciate this, but since it's me talking to you, what I really enjoyed was talking to like some of the students who were actually preparing the properties for this, and them telling us how they were setting it up and how they were moving walls around. And because, the house is originally designed maybe 3 bedrooms and
Right.
it's not set up to do this, but then how you would convert it and how it turned out. And I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I still remember that, even though it's a long time ago. And how do people that are getting into this, will they have trouble getting funding to buy this kind of property?
Great question.
How will they do that?
In our training, we actually cover the 7 ways to fund your business, because we highly encourage you do not use your own money, right? As Robert Kiyosaki says, you're being lazy if you use your own money. So it's important to use OPM, and whether that's an SBA loan, private money, hard money, bank loan, whatever it is, there's so many different resources for students in this. I mean, I'm blessed to travel 33 weeks out of the year and share on this subject, and every event I go to, without fail, someone comes up and says, I don't want to own the real estate, I don't want to own the business, but I want to invest in your top tier students. And so we've even curated a list of private lenders who are accredited, who are waiting for your phone call. And so coming to the training and being a part of the Rolla family obviously helps get you access to things like that. And so that's what's really exciting about this, is that there's plenty of people who are waiting for someone to give them an opportunity to get a return on their money. And this is an awesome opportunity that people are excited about. They want to learn more about, they want to invest in you. So opening your mind to not using your own money, you don't have to at all. So if you don't have it, don't worry. There's plenty of options. And we definitely should talk about that and show you how in our trainings.
And I know that we're just kind of touching the surface in this call. I know we're out of time, but I wanted to ask one more question. So if this is a little challenging to get set up and running, but you've got somebody showing you how to do it. It's not like you have to learn from scratch.
Right.
One of the things we haven't talked about, even though we talked about there's a big group of people out there that are your potential clients, how can we be comfortable that we're going to be able to, if we've set it up for 12 rooms, how are we going to be comfortable that we're going to fill that up or, get it occupied to whatever a good level is?
Yeah, marketing. Marketing is so important. And we always tell people, when should you start marketing? Yesterday, right? As soon as you come to the training and decide that this is what you're going to do and you're going to move forward, you've got to start marketing right away, which means having everything from brochures, business cards, websites, a Facebook page, all those different things. And then being a great member of society, showing up to events that seniors will be at, whether
Right.
excuse me. But having things like having relationships with elder law attorneys, geriatric doctors, placement agents, all these different people are going to really help you improve the people coming into your home. In our training, we literally do 3 sections on marketing because it's that important. And we do not want you to fail at this. It is so important that you start right away. And there's so many methods. So we go through 3 full sections on marketing so that you know what to do. But I also want you to rest assured, there's an entire industry of people called placement agents. So when mom or dad falls and breaks their hip and they go to the hospital and the doctor says they can't go home alone, here's a placement agent. That placement agent will ask you, what are you looking for? Location, price point, amenities, etc. And they'll give you business cards of those different homes that suit your needs. So a placement agent is kind of like a realtor for assisted living, more or less. And when they place someone in your home, you owe them half of the rent. So if that person's paying $5,000, you owe them $2,500, and they place someone in your home. But if that person's going to stay for an average of 3.5 years, I'll pay that all day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's some fast ways that you're going to pay that are faster. And then there's some things you need to be doing to create your brand and your business and your reputation and really build that. And we cover that in depth because it is so important. So I'm glad you asked.
Yeah. I heard a stat the other day. It said a third of the people over 65 who are hospitalized from a fall, like a trip or whatever, end up never coming home again.
Yep, it's pretty serious. And if you don't have a plan for yourself or your family, it's so important to start thinking about these things, because it's not just, oh, what happens to grandma? It's what happens to mom and dad. What happens to me? Like, you don't want to leave a burden to your kids. And so could be a solution that, yeah, you're making money. Yeah, you're, helping other seniors, but also it could be a solution for your own family, literally a plan for them. If and when they need care and assistance, they can come live for free in your home and you're still cash flowing. And then you can leave a blessing to the next generation instead of a burden. And so it's a really great kind of like tick, tick, tick type of investment strategy. And that's what gets me really excited about it.
Yeah. So I want to repeat, and I'm going to let you go, but I want to repeat one more time. We have our meeting tomorrow night. Be there about 6 or 7. And we're going to have, that's at the Shriner Auditorium in San Antonio. And then in Houston, it's at Transact Title at 1001 West Loop South. And James didn't correct me, so I must have said it right. And then, of course, you can go to alamoreia.org, and we'll have all the information there. And I look forward to meeting you there, Isabelle. And maybe I'll come back out and visit what you are doing, because I did very, very good rehabbing those properties and making them fit for those. Because what happens is the people that want to run that business, a lot of times don't want to get involved in the rehab.
Right.
And they don't have the tools or the experience doing it. And so I filled that spot for them, and I did very well with that. So
I love it.
Yes,
Sure.
ma'am.
Specifications for layouts of the facility. So you're not required by the state to have any specific floor plan. We do make floor plans available for purchase at our training, but you're not required by the state, but your state will have requirements like 80 to 100 square feet per person. Now, I think that's cruel. And so at our training, we say 300 to 500 square feet per person. So if you come to our training and follow what we say to do, whatever your state rules are, RALA rules, our rules are so much greater that you're going to knock your state rules out of the park. When they come to give you that stamp of approval, they're going to say, what happened here? Because this is amazing. It's above and beyond what is required. So your state will have specifications for square footage. And usually it's that low, 80 to 100, or 15 square feet in the living room per person. Like it's bad. So we're always going to tell you to go way above that. So I look forward to seeing you, Alonzo, at the training. And so we can talk even more about that.
Yeah, and I think it also makes you stand out from your competition when you do that.
Yeah.
Right. So people say mom or dad will be happy here. This is probably better than where they're living right now. Yeah. And they're probably going to eat. That's one, when people get older, they stop eating. They don't eat like they're supposed to, and they don't eat the right foods. They're not making good decisions. So I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's it. James, are you there? Is there any other things that we need to cover?
No, y'all hit it. Y'all hit it out of the park.
Okay.
Look forward to seeing. The only thing that I do want to mention is tomorrow night we do have a pre-meeting mastermind as well, and then there's also food and networking. So the links with all of the information, with the addresses and everything, those are in the comments. So it's alamorea.org and it's greaterhoustonrea.net. Other than
Okay.
that, we hit it out of the park.
Thank you, James. And thank you, Isabel, for giving your precious time to us. I know you got a lot going on, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.